Hey guys, what's going on? Brandon here, and today I am doing my review of I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. This film is the third film in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, and this film completely ignores the third film. That's the reason why this is the third film in the franchise, technically, even though it's the fourth. This is the fourth film, but they're ignoring the third film because the third film is terrible and it does not exist. Even if it does, it doesn't. So first of all, this movie follows a group of friends, who, just like the original, in terms of they are doing something that causes the death of another person that's not in the group, and they kind of cover it up, and then we're a year later. And so let's talk about the things I liked about this film, the things that I enjoyed. Overall, I really enjoyed the cast, specifically Chase Sui Wonders from Bodies, 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 and Madeline Klein from Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, or whatever the little thing is for that, where she played Whiskey. She's really good in that. And she's also in the TV show Outer Banks on Netflix. I think that they have incredible chemistry together. They are great in this film. The movie around them, we'll get into that. I have some issues, but we'll get to it. I also enjoyed the rest of the cast members. I think that they all do a fine job with what they're asked to do, maybe not always given the best material to really put in the great, performance, but they do what they can. Another thing I like is I like the sound design of the boots hitting the ground from the slasher here, from the fisherman. I mean, is that a great, in terms of, it sounds really menacing and it sounds really cool. In terms of the logical aspect of this, where would the fisherman really want to have, like, be so loud when, while he's chasing them or whatever? Whatever, I don't care. Another thing I really liked, or another thing I was a little bit mixed on, but I overall would say I overall liked it, was the kills in this movie. This movie has some of the best kills in this franchise, which is not a super high bar, because this franchise has never really been known for its kills, despite the fact that it is a slasher film. This film has been, the original was known for having a very good cast and, following a very simple story, but, a good story, right? A story that works. And so I did like that as well. To the mixed side of things, what I will say is they swung for the fences with that ending. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil anything. The ending, they did a swing. Was it a successful swing? The thing with that is, I think it's going to depend on how you are. I think it's going to depend on your opinion of this franchise and your and just your sensibilities in a way. I am not a huge fan of this franchise. I did not grow up watching these movies. The first time I saw this franchise was a couple of years ago, probably, when I was like 24, 25, somewhere around there, probably. And I thought, the first one was good. The second one is not very good. But it's not terrible either. It's just kind of like, it's there. And, the third one, I'll always know what you did last summer. It does not exist. Because it is terrible. Let's talk about the negatives. The script. The writing in this movie is atrocious. Dude, it is atrocious. I talked about how much I like the cast earlier. I feel like if you did not have such talented people reading these lines, this movie wouldn't work at all. And this movie does work on some level, but it doesn't work to the level I think the writers, the writer and the director wanted it to. The director wrote and directed this movie, so I don't think it worked the way that she wanted it to, but it's not terrible, right? It's a watchable movie. But getting to another negative, my next negative is the characters in this film. The actors were fine. I specifically mentioned the two, but there's even, other ones. I didn't talk about the legacy characters. I want to talk about them in just a second too. So let me get to that in a second. But because that would be under more of the positive route too. But the characters in this movie, I feel like the only reason why I liked them at all was because of the performances of the actors. The writing for these characters, as I've already said, the writing in general was terrible. The writing for these characters was terrible. And it's set up in a way in that the opening kind of scene where only one of these characters is sort of kind of likable. But even her, she has some weird script issues at the very beginning of the film, and it's not like she's not, it doesn't make her likable, it just makes her kind of annoying at the very beginning of the film. But, it wasn't the worst thing ever. It was just, this is an issue with the film. I think that it doesn't do enough to set up why you should like these characters at the beginning of the film. The first one, I think, did a lot better with the opening scene and kind of how it made us feel for these characters and like these characters on some level before the incident happens, the accident that causes the ripple effect of what happens in this year, and so there's some negatives here. There's some positives sprinkled in. The legacy characters. I think this is my last. I think this is gonna be my last point as far as this review goes. As far as talking about what I think overall, I do not like how Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, Julie James, was used in this film. I feel like she was just used for exposition basically until the very end of the film. They could have had a couple more scenes with her and maybe taken something out earlier in the film if they didn't want this to be a 2-hour film. If they wanted this to be 1 hour and 50, they could have taken one or two things out earlier and given us an extra scene or two with Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's a minor concern, but it's a minor negative. But it is a negative because I liked her. I thought she was really good, the actress, and Jennifer Love Hewitt was really good. And I didn't hate everything that they did with her character. I just didn't. She underutilized is the word I would use. Freddie Prinze Jr., I really liked what he did here, and he wasn't underutilized. He was very good. So there you go. There are some things I do want to talk about other than that, and I think I'm going to do a spoiler thing here in a little bit to talk about more spoiler things, and that's why I'm being very vague right now. But overall, Madeline Klein, Chase Suey Wonders, and the other younger cast, Sarah Pigeon, I believe is her name, is the other kind of main friend characters. There's two other ones too, the two Mels, the two men who one of them I don't think I know from anything. The other one I know he was like Eric in the Little Mermaid, the little live action Little Mermaid film that came out a couple of years ago. They were both very good. Both the male actors were very good. But I think the real stars of this film is Madeline Klein and Chase Suey Wonders. And that's really all I have to say. I will give this movie a slightly positive review at like a 6.5. And I'm going to make a spoiler. I think I'm going to make a spoiler thing, and you're going to see, so I can give you more details on what the whole like negatives, what my more negatives are, and why I didn't like what they did in certain areas. That's all I have to say. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And follow me on Twitter. Link in the description below. Peace out.